Hello everyone, this is Yalda from Eat, Burn, Sleep, the online low inflammation, gut health and sustained weight loss platform. If you follow me on my social media, you probably know that I love learning, discovering new things, meeting passionate individuals. So I have decided to launch this podcast where I interview amazing people. We're going to be talking about physical health, mental health, well-being, with people who are passionate about what they do and who strive for excellence. I hope you learn from it and you enjoy it. Let's get started. Hello everyone, welcome back to the Eat, Burn, Sleep podcast. I'm here with the beautiful Andrea Wong, an American businesswoman who happens to be a good friend of mine. Hi Andrea.
Hello Yalda, I'm very happy to be here with you as a great friend.
Thank you so much for being here. So I thought of asking you to come and talk on this podcast to really inspire people, and in particular women. You've had the most incredible career. You're very beautiful. You're naturally elegant, well-spoken.
Oh my God. I am very flattered by that.
And really fun.
Well, thank you. That's really nice.
So tell me, I was looking, at all the things you've done, just to give a little bit of background to the listener. Most recently, you were the president for Sony Pictures Television. You are the one who introduced the crown to Sony Pictures.
Yes.
And you have achieved many more things. You studied
electrical engineering. Believe it or not, electrical engineering.
You studied electrical engineering at MIT. So you started out in a very nerdy field.
Very.
And ended up in the very glamorous world of entertainment and television. Mm. How did this happen?
Well, I think I grew up in Silicon Valley, and everyone told me that I was good at math and that I should be an engineer because that's what everyone did. I grew up down the street from Apple. I went to the high school that Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak went to. So I thought my destiny was to go get an electrical engineering degree, get an MBA, and then go work somewhere like Apple or Hewlett Packard or something like that. So that's why I went into electrical engineering, and I went to MIT, and I really did not love it. It was hard, and I wasn't a natural at it. So I went to Wall Street for a while, and I really enjoyed that. And then I went to business school, and then I really thought about what I'm passionate about and what makes me want to get up in the morning. And I would say how people use their leisure time and how they escape is what interests me, and how they relax. And so I looked at all sorts of industries in that space, and I landed on television, and that's how I ended up going into television after business school.
Amazing. How amazing. So it was not by chance. You actually decided, I want to make a difference in people's life, improve their leisure time, and this is what I'm going to be doing.
Yes. I mean, it started out, it evolved over the course of time, but yes. Somehow through a confluence of events, I decided when I was in business school that I wanted to be a TV news producer. And I had zero experience in the TV news space. And I had 2 degrees that were actually negatives in trying to get a job. And so I begged for a job, and I finally got a job at ABC News, making less money than I made coming out of college. And so sometimes you have to take a step back to take a step forward, which is often something I say to people.
Interesting. And what happened after that?
Then I got really lucky. So some of my career has been luck. That I had a great sponsor, I guess, in ABC News who recommended me to be the first chief of staff or a special assistant to Bob Iger, who's now the CEO of Disney. Mm-hmm. But at that point in time, he was the head of ABC, Capital Cities ABC. And so I went to work for him for a few years, and I got to learn the entire business of television and radio and cable. And then I thought, you know what? If I really want to run something, if I want to run a studio or a network, I'm going to be better. I need to prove that I can do what drives the business, and what drives the business is the creative side. And so I didn't know if I was creative or not, but I needed to figure that out. And so I went off and tried to find a job on the creative side, and I moved to Los Angeles. And I took a job at ABC Entertainment that, frankly, nobody really cared about or wanted to do, which was called the Alternative Series Specials and Late Night Department. And this was before reality television really existed. Mm-hmm. And I said, sure, I'll do it, because I'm really interested in getting into the space. And then I got lucky timing-wise, because the world of reality television exploded over the course of the time that I was there and running that division. And so that's when I did things like The Bachelor, Dancing with the Stars, mm-hmm. Extreme Makeover Home Edition, and I brought a lot of British formats to the U.S. And so it was great. I really honed my creative chops, taught my brain to think in a different way, and because I do think you can train your brain to think in a different way.
How do you do that?
So here's what I did. So when you're an engineer, you're basically taking a whole bunch of inputs in a big funnel, let's just say, and solving it into the single answer. Mm-hmm. In the creative space, you're doing exactly the opposite. You're taking a kernel of an idea and blowing it up into a TV show. And what I did was I watched every TV show with a different lens. So I would analyze exactly what I thought worked and didn't work about the show. And I just trained my brain to think about, these are the elements that are important. For example, music is extremely important in a TV show. Mm-hmm. And certain elements, like when we developed The Bachelor, certain things resonate with people, and you need to figure out how to infuse that in a TV show. So I think the best unscripted shows tap into something that resonates with people or is provocative. And that usually is worldwide. So with The Bachelor, everyone knows what it likes to with The Bachelor, everyone knows what it feels like to fall in love. Mm-hmm. Everyone knows what it feels like to be dumped. And it was sort of the dating game on steroids. So I knew that was going to resonate with people.
Amazing. Of course.
And Dancing with the Stars was about putting their whole, having huge stakes and dancing live in front of 20 million people. And it takes great courage, and there are huge stakes. And that was what that was about. So I think unscripted television is very much about what resonates. And Extreme Makeover Home Edition was very much about rewarding people who have done great things and have not been recognized.
Like your own home, and it doesn't show on the outside? Is that what you're saying?
No, we would take families who had done extraordinary things or were well-deserved, and we would send them off on vacation for a week and redo their house for them.
I see. Sorry, I don't watch television.
No, that's quite all right. No, that's quite all right. And then, by the way, The Crown, you could argue, is the same thing. That the Queen has touched so many countries in the world.
Yeah.
And there is a resonance about royalty that mm-hmm. makes people absolutely curious about that story. Mm-hmm. And so that was pretty exciting to do that one.
I can imagine. And it's obviously became a great success. But what I want to understand is what in your childhood created a mind like the one you have?
I'm incredibly lucky that I have amazing parents. So I'm the oldest of 5 children. My parents are very middle class. My dad is a retired high school teacher. My mom is a retired nurse. And they gave us, I always say this, they gave us a few things, tools, I guess, in the toolbox. Number one, they gave us unconditional love, which is extremely important. The other thing they gave us was they never let us quit. So anything we committed to, let's say it was piano lessons or joining a club or whatever, you couldn't quit. You were committed. So it was about commitment and dedication to something. And the third thing they did was they taught us how to fail, which is maybe the most important skill, which is when you fail, you run for office or you try out for the cheerleading team or whatever it is. And you fail, they taught us how to pick ourselves up and dust ourselves off and keep going.
And how is that for a child in practical terms? let's say you didn't make it to the cheerleading team, how did which words did they use? How did they give you the motivation to continue or try something else? How did they keep this confidence, self-confidence up in you?
I think through the unconditional love and through just telling you there's going to be something else for you, or maybe this wasn't the right thing, but something else will be, and let's go find it.
Amazing.
And so, I watch my nieces and nephews go through the same thing with their parents. Mm-hmm. And, it's painful for a parent to watch their child fail. Mm-hmm. Or to watch a child in tears because they didn't make whatever it was they wanted to. But resilience is really, really important. And that's what my parents gave me.
Yes. I was reading The Tools of Titans of Tim Ferriss. Mm-hmm. And there is one thing that most successful people have, a trait they have in common, is they take less time than average to recover from a failure.
Yes.
So they pick themselves up quicker and get back on the road, which is basically what your parents taught you.
Yes.
It doesn't matter. You get back, you try again, something else, we'll find it. Yeah. Just keep going.
And as you get older, you realize if it didn't fit, or if you didn't have the right match, it wasn't the right thing for you. And it's easier, actually.
Yes. Yeah. It's like a filter. It's taking you to the place where you should be.
That's right.
So, Andrea, you have retired from your last job, and you are now on the board of a few companies.
Yes.
So tell me about that.
I'm having a great time being what I would call a pluralist, because I sit on these amazing boards of companies that I think are fabulously interesting. And I sit on the board of Liberty Media Corporation, which owns Sirius Satellite Radio and Formula One and the Atlanta Braves, among many other things. I sit on the board of their sister company, Curate, which owns QVC and Home Shopping Network. I sit on the board of a real estate investment trust. I'm on my third SPAC board. And then I just recently joined the board of a company called Roblox, mm-hmm. which is a gaming platform for young people, which is going to go out and direct list soon. And it's very exciting. It's a really exciting company. And then I sit on some private boards that I really enjoy as well. So I feel like I have the luxury right now of being involved in companies that I'm really interested in, working with people that I really, really like, and learning. And those are kind of the three things that are important to me.
I can imagine that's a pure luxury, actually.
It is a luxury.
And doing what you like.
Yeah, and being around people that you think are really smart and great.
Mm-hmm. Like me right now.
Exactly.
And how, so you're, knowing you socially, you're a very, very balanced person. You have your hobbies.
Thank you.
You are. You make time for fun, you make time for friends, you make time for hobbies, for travel. How, in a day, when you wake up, what's your routine? How do you structure your days? How does it work in your head? How do you not get overwhelmed by all the things that you do every single day?
Yeah, that's an interesting question, because you're asking me this in lockdown. And so this year has been an odd year in terms of trying to structure your day. If it were not lockdown, I'd spend the morning focused on emails probably. And then starting from lunch on, I would have meetings. And then I would do my social life in the evening. Mm-hmm. In lockdown, I don't know, I sleep a little bit longer. And and then I do kind of the same, but I can't see people usually. So I do a lot of work in the US, so I Zoom a lot in the late afternoon, evening. Mm-hmm. And then I'm kind of a night owl, so I do a lot of work in the nighttime, and then, or I talk to my family. And then I go to bed and I watch a movie in bed, and it's great. I watch a lot of content still. I love TV and film.
And how do you see, so everyone got completely hooked to Netflix and
yes,
and to TV, obviously, during lockdown. How do you see the future of television going?
I think that it's the goal. It's such a great time in television right now, because what these over-the-top platforms like Netflix and Amazon and Apple TV have done is allowed great storytellers, great directors, great actors to tell their stories in the length of time that they want to tell them. Mm-hmm. So it's not binary. It's not either a 2-hour film or a 22 episode TV show. It could be told in 4 hours or 6 hours or 8 hours or whatever the writer, director want to do. And then the actors have the luxury of saying, okay, I'm going to sign on for this 6-hour or 3-hour show. So, for example, we did A Very English Scandal, which Stephen Frears directed. When I was at Sony, Stephen Frears directed it. Hugh Grant starred in it. Ben Whishaw starred in it. It was a 3-hour show. You could not have done that 10 years ago.
Yeah, so it's bringing freedom.
It's bringing huge freedom, and therefore you get much better talent. And so it was extraordinary to have that 3 hours of television. And Amazon bought the worldwide rights. The BBC initiated it here. And so, for the talent, meaning writers, directors, and actors, it's the best time to be in this in content creation.
Yeah, so it's more democratic and more approachable for everyone.
And there's enormous resources being thrown at it. So a lot of great stuff is being made.
Amazing. You also keep healthy.
I try.
So what are your secrets? So if you look up Andrea, she is beautiful. She's a very
that's
beautiful.
Very kind.
You are. You have the most amazing skin, hair. You have a great body. So clearly there hasn't been that much stress, or you've mitigated the stress really well because it's not showing on you. What are your secrets?
Well, first of all, I have good genes because I'm Chinese. We age very, very well. Our skin doesn't wrinkle quite as quickly as most people's.
It's true.
And then, I don't know, I think lockdown has been good for me because I've slept a lot. And I walk all the time. I walk every day. And that, for all the workout, I've tried every workout on the planet. And the best thing for me is walking.
I'm so glad you discovered that because it's one of the pillars of the Eat, Burn, Sleep method.
I love that.
Yeah, it is. Walking is the most underrated form of exercise. It burns fat.
Yeah.
It lowers your inflammation. The first time I used to run a lot, and the first time I picked up on the power of walking was I went to the horse racing with the father of my children. And I was noticing that the jockeys are very skinny, very low body fat, but still some muscle. I asked one of them, I said, what's your secret? I know you eat very little, but you still have muscle on you. How do you manage that? He said to me, we walk 4 to 6 hours a day.
That's amazing.
He was like, because walking does not shrink your muscles, but burns fat. However, when you run, you waste muscle.
That's so interesting because I hate running. That's why I walk. And I will say that in this lockdown, I started walking every single day for an hour, and it is has been the best thing that I could possibly do for myself. I also find it to be very meditative.
It is. It calms you down.
Yeah.
And that's why it lowers inflammation. So it really calms the system down, walking.
Yeah. So that's my thing now. And, I guess I'm lucky that I can drink wine and not have it affect my body.
I told you guys Andrea was fun. So do you plan to stay in the UK or go back to the US?
No, I'm staying here. I just bought this flat and that you're sitting in right now. And I bought it a year ago, but it took me a year to remodel it and make it a home. And I really feel like it's my home and I love it. And I love living in London. It is, when you move from the US to London, at least for me, it opened up my aperture so much. And I can't even imagine going back to the US and living there because this world, the world just opened up for me in a way that I could have never guessed.
Because London is so cosmopolitan.
And so international.
Yeah, it is.
And also it's not a one industry town, which Los Angeles is.
You say that because you are in the media, but when you come from finance, you feel like everybody's from finance in London. And you'd feel like LA is more diversified. But I see what you mean. It's true that I've worked in New York for a few months when I was doing the graduate program for one of the big banks. I was quite shocked. I realized that London is so much more international.
It is.
There's incredible diversity here.
I meet so many interesting people here. I have so many friends that I adore who are completely different from each other. Mm-hmm. And I wouldn't have that if I lived in Los Angeles. And I wouldn't have that if I lived in New York either.
It's true. You and I have done dinners where there were 10 nationalities around the table. And not...
and wildly different.
Yes, wildly different. So have your siblings achieved the way you have? Have they... What I mean by that is, have they tried... Have your parents' method, has it worked on the 5 of you? Yes.
I would say my siblings are extraordinary. They... both of my sisters are doctors, and they're married to doctors, and they have, all of my siblings have kids, so I have 12 nieces and nephews. And one brother is a dentist who's married to a dentist he met in dental school, and they all met each other in school. And then my brother Greg is the CFO of a tech company and has a lovely wife as well and kids. And I think the testament to my parents is that we all really, really like each other.
I think that is the biggest thing.
So we have
more than any achievement,
Yeah, but if you can have 5 kids who all get along and really, really like each other,
yes,
and like our in-laws also, that's a great thing. So we have a Zoom every Saturday night because of lockdown, and we spend probably more time talking to each other than we have in years, and it's really nice.
So one of the upsides of this situation.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Amazing.
Because you have to look for the silver lining in all of these situations.
Mm-hmm. So from what you're telling me, it seems like the most important thing really is the unconditional love.
Yes.
That they have given you all.
Yes. And we all, because we unconditionally love them, we want our family to be happy, and we would never, even if we had a minor squabble with each other, we would never let that interfere with the most important thing, which is our family. Mm-hmm.
That's because you receive the love of love.
Yes.
When you receive a lot of love, then you have much more love to give.
Yeah, I think that's right. Mm-hmm. That's right. You can be more generous.
Yes, because your heart has been filled with that, and it is what you know. So your default mechanism...
Exactly. And I think also it gives you a backstop. Like when you know the chips are down or whatever it is, you know that you have a family who loves you. Mm-hmm. And you're going to be fine.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's really lucky.
Yeah, I feel incredibly fortunate every day. Like whenever I'm feeling whenever I am feeling sorry for myself in lockdown, I have to remember, or I do remember, how lucky I am to have the family that I have, the resources that I have, all of these things, and the friends that I have, and you cannot feel sorry for yourself in that situation.
I completely agree. What lockdown has taught me is to look at the things I have mm-hmm. versus looking at the things I do not have. Mm-hmm. And whether, to all the people listening, whether you have a loving family or not, we all have a support system. We yes. all have friends. We all have that. That's why we function. Otherwise, we wouldn't function if mm-hmm. we didn't have a support system. It is quite important during these times to realize quite how fortunate we are. The thing is, in previous generations and, last century and the century before, there was so much adversity around us that humans would feel so lucky when they lived or survived. Mm-hmm. We have become quite spoiled in a way and quite
yes.
picky.
Yes.
This allows us to see quite how far we've come as a human race. Mortality has never been this low. Children mortality has never been this low in history. We've access to vaccination, education, situation for women, although there is still a lot to be done, has never been this good. So at the end of the day, if we can focus on these things to pull us through these difficult times.
I think we're both very much a half glass full kind of person.
Yeah, we are.
And by the way, it's a better way to get through life, is to think about all the great things that we have mm-hmm. and to be happy.
Mm-hmm. Interestingly, I was talking, this is completely a different topic, but it still ties into it. I was talking to a psychiatrist, and she was telling me that everyone in their life at some point will go through a period where they will have symptoms of depression. Mm. Every single person. What pulls people through and allows them to not develop the disease, so depression is very linked to inflammation, but also from a mindset standpoint, people who see the glass half full are the ones who survive and stay positive and get over that little bump versus developing the disease in the long run.
That makes total sense to me. And again, I feel fortunate that I've been raised to always look at the glass half full.
So your parents were very much like that?
Yes. I mean, they're ecstatically happy people. They're thrilled that they have the children and grandchildren that they have. And it's wonderful to spend time with them.
Amazing. Andrea, thank you so much for your wise words and sharing all these things with us. Which, if you had some advice to give to anyone who wants to dive into the world of television, any young person, what advice would you give them?
I would say make sure you really, really want to do it, because it is a very, very hard world. I always say Hollywood sort of weeds out the people who don't really want to do it because it's tough. But if you love it, be really good at it, and you will, work hard, and you will climb up the ranks and get to where you want to go. But know that it will weed you out if you're not really, really passionate about it. But it's great fun. I will tell you, I've had the best time. I mean, I feel lucky that I've had the best jobs in the world. And so I am grateful for that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Yalda, for the kind words. Really nice to talk to you.
And you. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Have a beautiful day. Thank you to all of you for listening today. I hope you enjoyed it. Feel free to go on eatburnsleep.com to learn more about gut health and chronic inflammation. I would really appreciate if you could rate this podcast, and of course feel free to share it with anyone who might enjoy it. Have a beautiful day.